Queensberry put out this statement and they said that they had made a counteroffer to Ben Whittaker, which was better than the offer made by Ben Shalom, Whittaker's own promoter. And they claimed that they would pay both fighters, Whittaker and the opponent Liam Cameron, more money than Ben Shalom was going to pay both fighters. So Ben Shalom since countered the counteroffer with an improved offer for Liam Cameron. And he also issued a legal letter to Queensberry asking them to retract certain things that they've said and I think even apologize or whatever, because Ben Shalom doesn't like the fact that they're inferring that he's not doing what's best for his fighter, Ben Whittaker, that he's somehow selling him short and this, that, and the other. So Ben Shalom responded to this inference by saying that Queensberry have got no idea what he's paying Ben Whittaker. How is it any of their concern what he's paying Ben Whittaker? They don't promote Ben Whittaker. They promote Liam Cameron. So as long as the offer that Ben Shalom has made to Liam Cameron matches or betters what Queensberry were willing to pay Liam Cameron, then what's the issue? Now look, Ben Shalom, like every other boxing promoter, is somebody I don't trust. Ben Shalom in the past has done some questionable things. The first time there was the possibility of a Fraser Clark-Fabio Wardley fight, you guys may remember. Ben Shalom pulled Fraser Clark out of the purse bid at the last minute. Ben Shalom literally did with Fraser Clark exactly what Caballel did with Martin Bacoli, just to put it in perspective. Exactly the same thing, okay? The only difference being, as far as I can remember anyway, Ben Shalom didn't come out or Fraser Clark didn't come out and claim that Fabio Wardley had priced himself out, as far as I can remember. But in terms of what they did, Fraser Clark and Ben Shalom did the exact same thing that Caballel did when he pulled out of the Bacoli fight. Just putting that in perspective. But anyway, Ben Shalom has done some funny business in the past. He also pulled Richard Riakporhe out of the Jay Opataya fight. You guys remember that? So, Ben Shalom is not somebody I would trust. Nevertheless, the shoe appears to be on the other foot here. And it seems, as an outsider looking in, that it's actually Frank Warren, Queensberry, who are up to the funny business in this case. Ben Shalom took issue with this notion or the inference that he's not doing what's best for his fighter, Ben Whittaker. And that is why he's issued this legal letter. He says that basically Frank Warren, Queensberry are trying to tarnish his image based on things that are not true. And again, I'm not sitting here as some kind of Ben Shalom fan. I'm telling you that Ben Shalom has done things in the past which are very questionable. But in this particular instance, as an outsider looking in, I think it's actually the other side who are being disingenuous. Let's just put it that way. Because they're trying to frame it like Ben Shalom and Ben Whittaker aren't willing to make the fight. But since Ben Shalom has matched the purse that Frank Warren offered to pay Liam Cameron, then that's the end of the conversation. Make the fight. If Ben Shalom is willing to match Liam Cameron's purse offered by Frank Warren, there is no reason that Liam Cameron shouldn't accept it. Unless this is just a play for publicity, PR, because we know that Frank Warren and Ben Shalom are at loggerheads. We know that they've got beef. And Frank Warren, let me tell you this, as somebody who's been following boxing since the 80s and following Frank Warren's career all these years, he's a very vindictive man. He's a very petty man. And he will do all sorts of things, legal things, funny shenanigans. I mean, for example, right? Some of you guys may remember this. During lockdown, when Eddie Hearn was doing the shows in the bubble, what do they call it now? Matchroom Fight Camp. Members of Frank Warren's team, Eddie Hearn spoke about this publicly, were watching the Eddie Hearn Fight Camp shows, and then they were calling up the British board or the government or whoever and snitching and saying that certain protocols weren't being followed properly to try and get his show shut down. That is how petty they can be over there at Queensberry with their, silly nonsense. Can you imagine calling up and snitching, or I saw somebody without a mask on, or that kind of rubbish? That's what Queensberry were doing during that time. That's what they're like. So in this instance, I have to say, as an outsider looking in, it looks like Ben Shalom is actually the innocent party for once. But, some people will say no sympathy for Ben Shalom because he's getting a taste of his own medicine. When he messed various people around, the first time they could have made the Fraser Clark-Fabio Wardley fight, when he pulled Richard Riakporhe out of the Jai Opataya fight, so on and so forth.